What's going on, everybody? My name is PTP Percy, whichever you prefer, and welcome back to the Commentary Position YouTube channel. And today, I'm gonna be giving my predictions for Worlds Collide and for Money in the Bank. The video that I had prior planned on dropping today, I'm gonna need a little bit more time to make. So instead, I'm gonna kind of do things in reverse, and I'm just gonna give my predictions. I wasn't gonna include Worlds Collide in that, but I'm gonna get my predictions for the card as well, because you never know what can happen. I mean, Trick Williams won the TNA World Championship. Prediction wise, I don't think anybody really had that happening, so it's worth the go to predict both shows. Just to see kind of how it ends up going. I do feel like Worlds Collide might be a tad bit better. Might be biased because of the NXT like inclusion more or less, but I feel like this should be a good week of wrestling as far as Money in the Bank and Worlds Collide are concerned. So let's get right on into it. Sorry. So we got the LWO versus Octagon Jr., Aerostar, and Mr. Iguana. Now, of course, if you didn't know already, Joaquin Wild got taken out of the match. So it's Cruz del Toro, Dragon Lee, and Lince Dorado for this match. Um, I feel like prior to this, I kind of still had LWO losing just because these are legends of AAA as far as when you look at Aerostar and Octagon Jr. And then Mr. Iguana is kind of like a wild card. He's a champion in AAA currently. I believe he's like a part of like a mixed tag team. He holds one half of the titles. So just off that alone, I feel like when it came down to a six-man tag scenario. Now, granted, I wouldn't be surprised because I feel like if I'm going off of um, 1 second, if I'm going off of this compared to this, I feel like Legato could also lose, which would mean that one of these teams could also win. Not which one. That means that LWO could possibly win their match. But if you look deeper into it, I do feel like in the grand scheme of things, Dragon Lee pinning like Mr. Iguana or something is also a possibility. So I can definitely see, because I feel like whoever wins their match, the opposite is going to lose. But I mean, who knows? Granted, they are legends, so they might just want to put over like the future of Lucha Libre, which is what they call Dragon Lee on numerous occasions. And I mean, Lince Dorado adds another element to the match as well. So I'm gonna go with LWO on this one, just on the simple fact of that, like Mr. Iguana could probably eat the finish, but I would not be surprised if the six-man tags are kind of sweeps for AAA. Would not surprise me, not one bit. Then we got Legado del Fantasma versus El Hijo de Dr. Wagner I think it's Wagner. I don't know. Junior, Pagano, and Psycho Clown. Now, this is low key kind of crazy because I remember seeing Psycho Clown as a kid. Um, Shout out to Telemundo. But yeah, so this is kind of crazy that he's being on Worlds Collide and everything. Obviously, Legado del Fantasma has a lot of dissension in its ranks regarding Umberto and Angel and just Santos as a whole. So it wouldn't surprise me if Nazi's like Psycho Clown, Pagano, these are not pushovers by any means. So I could definitely see AAA taking another match. If anything, if AAA goes up 2-0 off the six-man tags, it would not surprise me one bit. I feel like these teams are very, very stacked in a way for AAA as far as like multi-man matches. And if they're doing like Lucha Libre rules or Lucha Tag rules, where it's like somebody rolls out, somebody can just get in, it could work in AAA's favor. I mean, obviously a lot of these guys did work in Mexico, so it wouldn't be like a foreign concept, but it could work in a way to where they have that bigger advantage. But in this one, I'm gonna definitely take Wagner, Pagano, and Psycho Clown. As far as my predictions for that match is concerned, I feel like Legato might slowly kind of implode, or the implosion might complete this weekend as well. But who knows? They could pull it together and kind of pull off an upset essentially, because these are not easy matchups for WWE at all. These are not easy matchups at all. So should be interesting to see how that goes. Next we got Stephanie Vaquer and Lola Vice versus Dalise and Cheek Tormenta. Hmm. To be honest with you, I mean, I know Dalise is one of the veterans. Cheek Tormenta is a very interesting character. I'm not gonna lie. At least from like the footage that they've shown prior to them showing off the card, they have a lot of history with Vaquer, or they have history with Vaquer. So Lola Vice is kind of the wild card as well for her team because it's very it's like I don't know, it's very interesting. She's a wild card for the team. But Stephanie Vaquer is pulling double duty, which means I don't know. She could potentially win two matches this weekend. Maybe a nudge to like my later prediction, but I don't know. She potentially could win two matches this weekend. So if I had to choose, I probably would say Stephanie and Lola win. More or less for the fact of, I could see Delise getting pinned by Stephanie in the grand scheme of things. Plus, Stephanie is very much after the call up and everything like that. She probably is set for a really, really strong run on the Raw side of things, and Lola Vice is kind of still in NXT, still trying to find her bearings, still trying to win a singles championship. If they have a lot of stock in both of them, I can definitely see Vicaire and Vice picking up the win here in this tag team match. Should be very good though. I'm actually very excited to see Dalise and Cheek Tormenta for sure. Very, very excited to see how that match goes. Now the match that I'm really thinking might be like match of the weekend for WWE. Ethan Page versus Laredo Kid versus Javon Evans versus Ray Phoenix for the North American Championship in a Fatal 4-Way match. This match should bang. I don't even think this match should bang. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. I kind of wanted to see Javon Evans and Ray Phoenix involved once I heard about Worlds Collide, or even after I seen Ray Phoenix sign. The whole thought in my mind was Javon and Ray Phoenix need to be in a ring together. And Worlds Collide is giving just that. Now, obviously, Ethan Page just won the title, so the chances of him losing at Worlds Collide are very, very low. I will say they should be very, very low. But in the devil's advocate way, Laredo is a very formidable challenger. I Ray Phoenix has kind of been getting like opportunities, but I think they're kind of like waiting it out, having him put on like really, really solid matches. Like the only real threat would probably be Javon Evans, maybe. But also Javon Evans is the youngest man in this match who has a lot of time to win a lot of singles championships. At least in the grand scheme of things. I'm not gonna say that they're guaranteed, but he has a lot of time to win championships in the future. So I'm gonna think Ethan Page retains here. He obviously has the power advantage, if I had to be like serious here. Power advantage, of course. I expect him to probably, probably get like some triple team action throughout the match, triple teams and whatnot. Um, but yeah, I'm really just excited for Evans and Phoenix and just to see how this match kind of unravels. I feel like this match could be really, really good. It has just about almost everything. Laredo, they always say like he's like one of the more complete luchadors in the world, and a lot of these other guys have yet to disappoint as well. Like Javon has yet to disappoint. Debuted on SmackDown this past week. And Ray Phoenix is, Ray Phoenix, Animo. Like, hey, this should be a really, really good match. But I got Ethan Page. Got all ego retaining. And our main event is the AAA Mega Championship. Not freshly won. I mean, I guess in taping terms, because they leaked it like a couple of weeks. They leaked it like a couple days in advance. But El Hijo del Vikingo versus Chad Gable. Now, depending on who you ask, Chad Gable's pulling double duty, but I mean, I feel like Chad Gable's, making his flights this time around, and El Grande Americano is going to be on the other side at the other arena preparing for Money in the Bank. But this match also could be really, really solid. Chad Gable is no slouch by any means, and El Hijo del Vikingo is a daredevil in the ring. I'm not sure how much crazy action we'll probably see out of him because obviously WWE likes to be more tame. In the past, people say, like, "Oh, Vikingo does too much," or he's a little too risky with his offense. all depends on what they allow him to do. But I feel like this match is also going to be very, very solid, and it's kind of interesting to see how this match could play out. I mean, like I said, Trick Williams winning the Impact Championship. The chances of Chad Gable leaving with the AAA Mega Championship aren't as low as they used to be. But Vikingo is definitely one of those like top talents outside of the WWE bubble, and he just recently won it off of Alberto El Patron, I believe. So I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna discount Vikingo at all. I think Vikingo does retain in a really, really hard fought match, but this could also be a match of the night contender as well. There's a lot of matches on this card that they stack up really, really well. I feel like AAA can at least get two matches in the grand scheme of things, and then it's kind of like an NXT WWE runoff. But overall, I do think that this show should be really, really, really solid. But without further ado, let's go ahead and pull up the Money in the Bank card to give our predictions on that side of the night as well. So now we have got the Money in the Bank Los Angeles card up here. I'm pretty sure this is confirmed. I don't think anything's really going to get added because the Money in the Bank ladder matches could be filling up a lot of the time on the card. Plus, it starts at 7, at least 7 Eastern for Pacific. So, should be a pretty, not hefty, but pretty lengthy show match-wise, which could work in their favor because especially with matches like this one, Lyra Valkyria versus Becky Lynch for the Women's Intercontinental Championship. Stipulations in this match, I believe, if Lyra wins, Becky can no longer challenge for the Intercontinental Championship. But if Becky wins, Lyra has to basically do the same thing that Becky did for her last year, or I think a couple years back. Maybe last year. I don't know. I forgot when Lyra beat Becky for the NXT Women's Championship. But basically, Becky raised her hand in victory at that time. And if Becky wins, Lyra will have to do the same. This feud has been built really, really well. Lyra's definitely come out of her she's come out of her shell promo wise. I feel like in a way it was always kind of there, but also working with somebody who is perceived to be like one of like your mentors or one of the people you looked up to also gives you that a little more oomph, that little more comfortability factor in my opinion. But of course, Becky Lynch's heel work in the beginning it didn't really seem that believable. But as times went on, she has gotten a lot better, and to me at least, it was a different type of direction for her heel wise, but it took a while to really like kind of like sink in for me, the new direction. But this match is really, really good. This match should be really, really good. Didn't I? I about to say I didn't like it. I did. Their match at Backlash, I actually thought was way better than I thought it would be. Obviously they're both phenomenal wrestlers. Lyra, straight grade A graps, if I do say so myself. Um, as far as this is concerned, I want Lyra to win, but also at the same time, Becky being the stipulation being for her to like not contend ever again, kind of makes you think that Becky kind of wins, and then we kind of lead to like a Bayley return, and now Bayley kind of becomes a Grand Slam as well because this will make Becky a Grand Slam, I believe, her winning the Intercontinental Championship. So if Bayley comes back and they feud and makes Bayley a Grand Slam as well in the future, I could definitely see that being a thing. But if that's the case, I feel like Lyra should move up to the Women's World Championship on Raw, where she could be putting on bangers with Stephanie Vaquer, Io Sky, Rhea Ripley. I feel like she's really, really proven herself match wise. And then the mic work was probably what they were still being hesitant on, which that in itself right now is being shown to not be a question at all, in my opinion. So I'm going to go Becky here for the simple fact of if Bayley comes back, that should be the next program, Becky and Bayley, who I don't think have had a singles feud like a highly contestable one. I mean, obviously like Bayley and Damage Control, like they had beef with Becky, but I don't think they really ever got like a Bayley Becky direct feud out of them. So this should definitely be the next move, and then Lyra just moves up to bigger and better things. But this should be a really good match overall. I do think Becky wins, and we get the Bayley story, and Lyra just moves up to bigger challengers, bigger matches, and I feel like it's very much warranted. Very much warranted. What we got next? We got the women's Money in the Bank ladder match. We got Naomi, Rhea Ripley, Julia, Roxanne Perez, who I very much so send my prayers out because I know it's a lot of stuff going on around her and her safety. Greatly it's very disheartening. I'm about to say greatly disheartening, but it's very disheartening to see what people in this world will say and do for attention, or what people will do to just like people that don't do nothing to them that they have no attachment to. Like fingers crossed, Roxanne is safe this weekend for sure. Alexa Bliss and Stephanie Vaquer, who qualified this week, I believe. Yeah, she was last qualifier. Um, I'm gonna hint at this in the video that I make later, but it's almost like the past, present, and future of the women's division all in one Money in the Bank ladder match. And wishful thinking, one of the newer faces win this briefcase, and by that I mean Roxanne, Julia, or Stephanie Vaquer. But you can't rule out Rhea Ripley, who has only competed once at the Money in the Bank pay-per-view, which is surprising in itself. I think she had a one-on-one match with Charlotte in 2022, I believe. Um, Alexa Bliss obviously is on the rise, being built back up. Of course, the Y6 implications are always in the loom. And then you got Naomi, who's been putting on a lot better heel work as of late. Still a little kind of drastic at times. I'm not the biggest fan of the new like direction as far as the proceed with caution thing, but I can give its respect where I can give respect where it's due. She's gotten a lot more intense, a lot more believable as the months go on of her as the months go on of her having this gimmick. Um Realistically, I'm gonna give two options here. In the grand scheme of things, I can see Rhea Ripley definitely winning because this is one of the rare things that she has yet to do. Aside from the mid card championships, of course, this is one of the rare things she has yet to be able to do on the main roster. But if I'm going to be completely honest, I definitely think Julia needs this briefcase because if I had to go between the three of Roxanne, Stephanie, and Julia, Julia has the most to probably prove in the grand scheme of things because obviously people know Julia is good. But when you look at how they came up main roster wise, Stephanie had a banger match with Io, proved that she belonged. Roxanne has been built up very, very much in every single match she's been on, every single match she's been in since she's been showing up on the main roster. The matches with Rhea and Io, the tag team match that had Julia, Rhea, and Io in it. The match she had with Tiffany Stratton on SmackDown, her qualifying match was really, really good. I think it was Roxanne, Becky, and Natalia. Like she's been having really, really good showings every single time she showed up. So Julia definitely, in my opinion, needs that briefcase to solidify just that, she's also one of them ones. Raw is in good hands, women's division wise. SmackDown definitely needs that new number two if they're gonna like drop Charlotte down like the ladder a little bit. Right now it's kind of Tiffany Stratton. You got Bianca still coming back from the injury. Jade is left to be seen, but Julia can kind of just like if she can come in, rise right up the ladder, and be that secure number two. I can definitely see them going in that direction. But I do feel like a new face, even if it's not Julia, will win this briefcase. And of course, obviously, the more predictable one would be for Rhea Ripley to win. That's my two options here. So I can't really pick a pure winner with this match for sure. And then honestly, there really isn't a wrong winner in this situation. I have preferences, yes, but there really isn't a wrong winner as long as it's used to its full potential and not kind of like wasted. But I feel like it should be a really good match, a really good showcase for the women. Like most cases, a good showcase for the women. All right, so we got the men's 2025 ladder match, Money in the Bank ladder match. We have LA Knight, Penta, Andrade, Solo Sokoa, Seth freaking Rollins, and El Grande Americano. Once again, I can't say once again because this match kind of has three clear winners in my opinion. Obviously, the one being Seth Rollins because he is, obviously telling his story of being the savior for the company and molding the company in his own image, ruling with an iron fist, if you will. You have Solo Sokoa, who kind of brought up in a promo, like, restoring power back to the bloodline, which, even though Solo Sikoa hasn't been winning lately, you can respect the opinion or respect the attempt to want to reclaim and restore glory. And then you got, say, the third one is probably like, I'd probably say sadly, not sadly, but surprisingly, it'd be El Grande. Like Chad Gable, obviously, I'm gonna like cut my jokes here. Chad Gable has shown to be very, very diverse with the El Grande Americano gimmick, as well as him wrestling as himself. If you give him the briefcase, I'm not really sure many people are going to be like fully upset about El Grande Americano being the briefcase holder, as he's pretty much been one of the better like bell to bell guys, especially like his WrestleMania match. He was going crazy with Rey Fenix at WrestleMania and in an impromptu match because Rey Mysterio unfortunately got injured. But like El Grande Americano definitely is a sleeper pick. If like I wouldn't even laugh at somebody if they had El Grande winning the Money in the Bank briefcase. Guys like LA Knight don't really need it. Penta, I feel maybe if you really want to. I mean, obviously Penta is really really good in ladder matches if you watch other companies and stuff like that. Andrade definitely would need it, but I don't think they're gonna give Andrade. It would take a lot. It would take a lot for me to see them giving like Andrade the full blown rocket, unless Seth Rollins was to get screwed over by CM Punk, which at that point then you would probably like go down the peg and it'd be Solo Sikoa, El Grande, and then you would probably have your give or take pick between Penta and Andrade for that third potential winner. I do think inevitably that Seth Rollins will get screwed over because if Punk wasn't in the match like fully to stop him, he's going to stop him in some way, shape, or form. So if I had to choose a winner here, man. But then it's also a little bit of like up in the air stuff with Solo because him and Jacob have their issues or whatever. I'm gonna go El Grande Americano. El Grande Americano, because I feel like LA Knight doesn't really need the briefcase. I wouldn't be surprised if they are in Los Angeles. Um, in the back of my mind, I'm thinking to myself, if Solo and Seth don't win, the next best option in their eyes would probably be LA Knight. Um, but yeah, I'm gonna go with El Grande for my pick. Just off the simple fact of Chad Gable has been putting in a lot of work. El Grande Americano has been having exceptional matches, but I would not be surprised if LA Knight in LA is the winner of the men's Money in the Bank ladder match this year. And main event, the last time is now. I didn't know that was the tagline for it. That's crazy. But we have the tag team match, including the WWE champion John Cena, or the undisputed WWE champion John Cena, and Logan Paul, versus Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso, the World Heavyweight Champion. If I'm being honest here, this match holds a lot of weight in the grand scheme of things as far as SummerSlam is concerned. I would assume if Cody Rhodes wins this match, he kind of can stake his claim to being next in line for his rematch clause, or just next in line for a match after beating John Cena and Logan Paul. But on the other foot, you could also say Logan Paul might have the ability to say, "Oh, I can run it back," if his team was to win and he was to pin Jey Uso. This really is a battle of ruining wrestling versus saving wrestling, which I feel is a very, very consistent theme across both brands, depending on how you want to slice it. So, as far as this match is concerned, I do feel like, in the essence of, you know, giving Cena another challenge, I can definitely see Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso winning this tag team match. Maybe Cody Rhodes pins John Cena to kind of show that he can do it, all shenanigans aside. And then going into SummerSlam, we can get Cody Rhodes and John Cena in some form or fashion. Or if anything, maybe John Cena can pin Jey Uso, and now we get champion versus champion. Maybe not belt on the line. I wouldn't go that far or get that crazy with it. But we could see champion versus champion with Jey Uso and John Cena at SummerSlam, just to see who will be the more dominant champion. That could also be like an implication. But there are also a lot of rumors about, Logan Paul being a part of this unit that supposedly The Rock still is kind of subsequently linked to. Travis Scott is not. I don't think Travis Scott's in LA. I don't know, but There's a lot of things going on with that, like maybe John Cena takes Logan Paul under his wing, essentially, because obviously John Cena can go to any show he wants, so it doesn't really matter if he's on Raw or SmackDown. Should be very interesting to see how this match unfolds. If I had to really solidify a winner, I would say Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso. Uh, Probably get this, pull out this victory. Maybe some shenanigans are pulled. Maybe Cody Rhodes does realize that he has to do whatever it takes to beat a guy like John Cena, who essentially competes in every match like he has nothing to lose. So maybe we get that full on culmination as far as like Cody Rhodes going to that dark side every once in a while to get victories. That would also be very good storytelling as well. Should be interesting to see how that unravels with a great week or great weekend. I say like Saturday weekend of wrestling that is ahead. Obviously, against all odds is on Friday with TNA and everything. So a good weekend of wrestling should be on the dock for wrestling fans all over the world. And that kind of wraps it up for this prediction for both Worlds Collide and Money in the Bank. Hopefully, I can get out the other video that I want to make tomorrow ahead of SmackDown and everything like that. If you haven't already, leave a like on the video if you agree with some of the predictions that I have. If you don't, then comment down below who you have winning, either for Worlds Collide or for Money in the Bank. If you have a different winner, different set of winners, let me know. I'd love to hear it. Also subscribe. We are almost halfway to 550. Trying to get that coveted 1,000. Well, yeah, coveted. Yeah, somewhat coveted. That coveted 1,000. Greatly appreciate that as well. Um, yeah, hope you guys have a good rest of your day. If I don't see you guys on Friday, at least you will see me for Worlds Collide. Money in the Bank probably will be streamed somewhere else from my end potentially. Not really sure yet, but I will see you guys on Saturday guaranteed for Worlds Collide. And appreciate anybody who watches, and I will see you guys on the next one. Peace.